Hi friends. Don't know much what I have to say. I just feel kind of full with something to say. So here I am. Um, how is it going for you? For me, um, it's an up and down roller coaster ride of emotional intensity. Now, it hasn't been as difficult and challenging, pardon me while I turn this down a little, as it was um, for a while, specifically the few days after 10/28 and the couple weeks after 11/11 was heavy. But it's still challenging. I still find myself in tears quite a bit, and they can be the good kind. Those are interspersed in there too, where the heart just overflows with love or joy or gratitude or that kind of thing. So, Kismet, chill out with that thing, okay? It makes too much noise when you chew it. So, it's not that I'm saying that I'm just heavily burdened. It's just a really, I don't know, folks. Okay, so frequencies are rising. We know this. We even have science to show it to us. It's not in doubt. Such an agreeable dog. Um, and our consciousness is rising along with it, most of us. Those that are consciously reaching for truth, for light, standing in our integrity, and so on. What's going on in the macrocosm is in support of our work in the microcosm of self. And so those things are happening. I'm not used to seeing myself as so emotional as I've been lately, but I do have a confession to make. I have the moon in Cancer, which is about as fine a placement as you could get for the moon, since that's its most compatible sign is in Cancer. So that should indicate that that's just really sensitive and well placed. It's doesn't have any real challenges there. Uh, so it's just that for most of my life, I haven't really manifested too much of that. Um, my emotions, a lot of it has been a behind the scenes thing. Empaths, you can't hide anything from an empath, but for most of the population, they didn't see and didn't know. Um, so the mind is fishing around. You can see the mind like a fish flopping on the shore, trying to get back into the water, trying to figure out what the heck is going on. And so I indulge it sometimes, and I trek a little while with it and listen to it, trying to figure things out. Overall, though, I have no conclusions, no answers. I feel fine about the journey. I feel each step is a step up. Now, I'm going to give you a really nice link to go along with this video. It's an older document. It's a PDF that's free. And it's something or another about mission. Oh, it's ET 101. So a lot of you will have read it. It was put out in the 90s, I believe. It is absolutely just as relevant today as it was then, as it ever was. And it's delightful. It's humorous. It's fun. It's as if there's a cosmic mission control that sent us light beings in here. And it's a manual that they gave us to bring along and pull it out to remind ourselves who and what we are and what's going on and what we signed up for and all that sort of thing. And it's a lot of fun. Um, I'm finding more and more visual anomalies, uh, anomalies to the mind. I'm just seeing things, nothing really, nothing I can define. And I'm starting to talk to them, uh, and expecting any day to go totally clairaudient or clairvoyant to begin to see these things. I remember I have had one and only one experience with clairaudience. Clairaudience is like clairvoyance, only clairvoyance is with sight and clairaudience is with hearing. I was meditating back in the days when I was in the Air Force, so we're in the mid 70s here. And I was sitting in, was I still in the Air Force? I think so. It was around that time. I was sitting in my barracks or apartment or whatever it was, meditating. And all of a sudden, clear as a bell, a male voice spoke from inside me. It seemed like inside my head, and it said my name. Oh my God, it startled me. It scared me. I jumped up out of that chair, and it's never happened again. So I would say that it's pretty apparent that I wasn't ready at that time. Um, I couldn't give you a read on the energy of the being, whether it was benevolent or not. I would guess so, but I don't know. I was just so startled out of any kind of peace whatsoever. Now, I wasn't a meditator. I have never been a formal meditator. I've been a devotional meditator. I call it pondering or contemplating, not real meditation. So I didn't have a path. I didn't have any training. I hadn't read anything back then on meditation even. I was just sitting, being still, or whatever I was doing. Actually, I'll share another one with you. Also, back when I was in the Air Force. See, I might have been ready to wake up back then, or I might have had beings trying to help me wake up back then, and my non-readiness stopped it. But I remember when I reached a point where I decided that I was going to try to meditate. Uh, and it was too much of a challenge for me sitting up. So, what I would do is I would lay on my back. That was a position for decades that I never slept on my back. If I did, I was guaranteed to wake up with nightmares. Even if I would roll over on my back in my sleep, in no time I'd be up with a nightmare. So laying on my back was not conducive to sleep, but it was conducive to relaxation. And I remember how I tried to be fairly regular with this. I would lay on my back and I would just try to attune, to be quiet. And I began having these experiences where it was as if, and it might have been the case, but it was as if there were beings standing on either side of the bed, one on either side, and they were like trying to roll me out of my body. They were trying to help me have an OBE. And they would roll me back and forth. And how funny as I look back, because I remember clinging in fear with my astral body to the bed. Oh my God, how funny. It's a real hoot. Um, as I say, I've always been devotional and in love with God, the divine union kind of a thing. Just I came in that way and I've always been that way. And I was brought up, the first part of my life was Catholic, so, that is compatible with that kind of a walk. And so I remember one time I did get to where I was having out of body experiences and having fun with it. Instead of going down the hall in the barracks, I would go through the barracks, through all the walls. And I loved the feeling of, even in the astral body, of passing through the walls because you could feel it, and just having all kinds of fun. And there was one time, now I was in tech school, technical training, so I had completed basic and I was in training to be uh, believe it or not, a jet aircraft mechanic. That's what I was, and I graduated the school with honors. It was a time of quotas, so if you were a woman, you couldn't go into a woman's job, and the same with a man had to go into the more feminine, secretarial type occupations. So I was in tech school, and when you get out of basic training, you don't bring anything with you but your toothbrush and your underwear. So I didn't have much. I went straight from basic to tech school. Um, I forget the name of the Air Force base, but it was still in Texas. But it wasn't Lackland. Anyway, I had very little. I had my uniforms. But I guess I had a few other things because I came to myself as I was out of the body. We were standing in front of my closet there in the barracks, and the door was open, and this being was standing next to me, uh, showing me the things in my closet and suggesting that I was accumulating excessively or something. And I remember being surprised. Lots of fun things. Lots of fun things have happened. Okay, so what am I wanting to share? Well, I want us to wake up. I want us all to wake up, myself included, and you are myself there. To the extent that any one of us wakes up, that's a boon, benefit, and blessing to all the rest of us because we are the one self. And we're working on the 100th monkey effect. Not that we're monkeys, but the more of us that are taking more and more steps, what we're doing is we're developing a momentum. We've got a good momentum going, actually. There are more awakening and awakened people on this planet right now than I don't know when, many thousands of years, I think. And so it's just a blessing for all of us to also to nurture and support one another and do what we can to, hold the line on integrity and staying centered, staying present. It's staying conscious. Um, One thing I wanted to share with you that I read in the manual that was a reminder to me. See, we go look at videos, we read books, and we read things like this manual for one reason, and that's to get the inner resonance. We're trying to remember. No one can tell you anything you don't already know. What you're doing is you're looking for the echo of what you know. You're looking for the echo, something that will help truth echo from within you. We're trying to reclaim that and see through all the layers of the crud that have been built and poured and covered over the top of who and what we are. Over the journey. And so one thing that really resonated with me in this manual was that there are a lot of fourth dimensional or fourth density entities, individuals, and beings, not all of whom are awakened or in the light. Just because you're in 4D does not make you illumined. And so there are a lot of them that are trying to pass themselves off as beings of light. And the suggestion that Mission Control gives in the manual is that you greet them as the master that you are. Not as a student, not as a seeker, not seeking something outside of yourself, but as the master that you truly are. We forget. We have forgotten who we are. And that's what we're remembering. And it's good to be reminded, you are the master. And it changes in not so subtle ways. It changes the interactions that we have with these beings. And frankly, it scares a lot of them off because they can see who we are. I mean, as long as we don't know who we are, we don't claim it, we don't stand in it, they're not too worried about that. They won't have to deal with it unless we bring it into the picture. So I think that's a really good thing to do, a good way to bring it into the picture. Remember who and what we are. All right. What do I want to share? I don't know, the whole sense of reality is shifting. And I slip into it and out of it, into different pieces or aspects of it. Remembrance comes and then it seems to go. None of this is a slipping back. None of this is a backsliding. If our anchoring in the light seems very unsteady, I think that's developmentally very appropriate. We just don't have our sea legs yet. Okay, so I think, and I am being alert not to look down on the self in any way, on any self, on anyone's self. It's not who and what we are. Who and what we are doesn't look down on anyone or anything. Who and what we are has eyes of love so bright that they're like beams, headlights that the deer will get blinded and they'll just stop, and hopefully you're not going so fast that you can't stop as well, and give them a chance to remember where they are and get going. Our vision, our true vision, is that bright. Literally, as we look, those are beams of light we send forward, and the light is love, and it melts all opposition to that. It makes it just fall away. And it's good to remember. And whenever mind pipes up and gives you a worry or a concern or a thought about ego, just don't listen. Mind doesn't know any better. There's no ego here. When you're in heart, when you're in the now, ego is not present. I equate ego with the lower mind, frankly. I really do, with the whole 3D thing. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that kind of thinking, for it is thinking, is irrelevant here. It's inappropriate. It's just mind, like the fish on the bank, flopping around, trying to figure things out, being worried, being concerned, trying to be in control. And it's okay to just look at it and look away. The more we look away like this, the better. Our gaze is light. And the ray of light that it is has a real and true energy. And so we feed what we see. We interact with it. We influence it. And we're coming to realize that we're actually in process of creating it. And so let's have a care with not only what we're looking on, but how we can stop feeding the beast. We just stop. We look away. We look the other way. Things are going to go down. Things of the old world, of the old way. Things built on total lack of integrity, honor, and all of that heart, truth, love, and integrity represent. Truth will stand. Light will stand. Everything else has to fail, fall, and crumble. It can't go along for this ride. There's no way. Well, we don't need to participate in that. We can look away and just let it crumble. And that's the best way for a lot of things. We don't need to go to war with anything. When we go to war with something, we just sustain it. We feed it energy. And a lot of times we get ourselves into lower vibrational states that really feed entities and vampire-like beings. And I don't know about you, I think most of us are just absolutely through with that. It's over. Those things are either going to have to go into the light and convert or die. And that's just how it is. Those are false creations, you could say. There's not soul there. Where there is soul, there is always option. Always, always. God is no farther away than a breath. Source, spirit, the all that is always near. And it's love, capital L. It's love. And so I don't think a misplaced sense of needing to be a savior is appropriate, needing to rescue someone or something. We best do that just by being who and what we are. Our being sends forth light that is in support of integrity everywhere. We're all in support of one another, and we do it just by being. And those moments when we're still and quiet, just experiencing that, just being that, that's powerful service. That's action that can't be seen, can't be understood by the mind. But that's real, true, and legitimate action that is being taken by light. And so, among the things that we're watching crumble is our own inner world of ideas, thoughts, concepts, and beliefs. We find that it was all based on nonsense, pretty much. By grace, we didn't get into the fullness of believing in it that the dark ones did, you know? And so we're blessed that way. And it's easier to watch our own ideas and beliefs around things turn out to be wrong. Even that's really shocking, huh? I mean, we get a concept about how things are. How many people are going to be totally flipped out when they find out that not only do ETs exist, but they are an ET by their own definition? I mean, we have such hilarious times up ahead. I can hardly wait. Maybe I visit them in the out-of-body state or other dimensional state or something. But I've got a real big belly laugh going on deep inside somewhere as all of this transpires. And for the most part, our suffering is based on taking things too seriously, mostly the self. We have taken who and what we think we are entirely too seriously. And it's not. We forgot that it's a part in a play. Okay, as usual lately, this isn't like any other one, but oh well, here we are. Be seeing you soon again. Good day.